In this video, I want to talk about rich controls. I'm going to warn you up front that this video is going to be painfully short for some of you. I just want to expose you to these things. Microsoft uses the word rich a lot. I think it's obvious probably why this word's so dear to them. They have a class of controls called rich controls that do an awful lot of work for you. The first one up that's been here for quite a while in ASP is Add Rotator. Now, this thing was born in the midst of the, pre-dot-com explosion days. And back in the middle of the dot-com boom, all you had to do was stick a web page up, and it seemed like folks would start knocking on your door wanting to buy advertising space on your web page. And this created both a good thing for people and a challenge. Because if I had 100 people that appeared and wanted to advertise on my web page, what I could then do is say, listen, any of you guys that want to pay me a little extra money, I'll make good and sure that your ad hits the page more often than some other people's ads. And so that's exactly what Add Rotator took care of. I could apply weighted averages, I guess you could say, to these different ads, and it would randomly post them up there and rotate them around, but it would make sure that they hit at certain percentages. Now, since the .com has kind of cooled off, we can use that Add Rotator for different things. In an intranet, for example, it can be used to post informational messages, motivational messages, various announcements, and those sorts of things. There's another one called the calendar control that is really quite cool. I'm going to actually go out and show you this one in just a second. But you're going to see with these controls that there's a lot of code been written in the background for you. And so these things are pretty cool. Now, I also want to point out, you can buy these things out on the open market. You can buy controls for .NET that are really cool, and you should look at these things. If you do a lot of web page development, you should go out and spend some time just looking around the internet for some rich controls or some ASP.NET controls. Just go out to Google and do some searches and take a look at these. Let's go out to Visual Studio. I'm going to open this thing up. I'll use my postback example page, and I'm going to open this thing up and show you what this looks like. If I look over here in my toolbox, you'll notice these things are kind of inconspicuous here. You'll notice here's Add Rotator and here's Calendar, and these are the rich controls. Now, I'm going to click on Calendar, then come on to my web page and just draw it out here and then let it go. And you'll notice that this thing dropped a calendar on my web page. Now, I can grab this thing and move it around and position it where I would like it on my web page. But I want you to notice what happens when I run this thing. So I'm going to kick this page off again and run it. Show you what I can do with this rich calendar control. Give it just a second here to compile up. Notice each one of the days on this control is a hypertext link, and notice I can click on this, and it's causing a post back here. This is going to change. Remember our previous example. It's causing a post back to the server, so I could write code that if they click on the 22nd, do this and that and so forth. Also notice that I can click here and go to June, July, August, September, and I can also go backwards. So this thing can really streamline a lot of code. Now, how much code would you have to write to build these calendars on the fly like this and to drop them in there and show the correct dates? And so this is a good example of a rich control. A lot of functionality built in here for you. All I had to do was drop that on the page. It's very similar to like an ActiveX control in earlier versions of VB. But just wanted you to see rich controls and wanted you to know that these things are worth looking at. Now, these things can be quite expensive on the open market, but sometimes they're really worth the money if you do a lot of development. They can save you a ton of code. So just be aware of what these things are, what they do, and use them as you need them to get an awful lot of work done really quickly.